with his Chaos Piper deck profile.
Hey guys, well I've been playing this deck since early this year because I've always liked Chaos. I really started playing this deck more when Gabriel from Mecha topped the YCS with it and really innovated the deck. Well, here's the deck. Obviously BLS, 3 Chaos Sword, 2 Tragoedia. No, Tragoedia is like one of the best cards in this deck because even if you got some field presence and possibly back row, even though there's not much back row in this deck, they never see it. Like there's Gorz, but people always try and play around it, but Tragoedia is much harder to play around. There's 3 2 guide and a Sangan. As Gabriel said, you can't play this deck without 2 guide. You really can't. Especially with the fast formats like this. This just opens up so many options and just really good plays, which I'll show you one of my favorite plays of this deck later. 2 Spirit Reaper. This card is just broken and amazing at the moment. It's just stalls for a while. People just, if they don't know what deck you're playing, people think it's a Sangan, but Reaper, and then they have to waste resources to get rid of the Reaper. And with this deck, you really want to just waste the opponent's resources and just drop like 3 Chaos Sword on them, and you pretty much got game. And here are some cards that I'm a bit iffy about and just still testing, but a Thunder King and 1 Cyber Dragon. Originally it was just 1 Cyber Dragon because this card, I don't like the way that people say you bait up stuff with it, but it's more just like the 2-1 beater that you can attack over stuff. It's really versatile, and you can bait stuff out and then use Go Piper. But I sided it for a while, just not maining it at all, and just ran in 1 Thunder King because I thought that this is kind of like the old format where you could just have 1 Thunder King in the main game 1, and then you side into Cyber Dragons game 2. But I found that having 1 of each was a pretty good balance because Thunder King was a bit underrated, so was Cyber Dragon. And here's like the main engine of the deck, obviously 3 Chaos Piper. Such a good card. I think it's really fun, and priority didn't hit it as much as you'd think because my train of thought is that if people veil this card, I'm pretty happy because then my Chaos Sorcerers just go off later. So yeah, we really didn't hurt the deck that much. I play 3 Effect Veiler. This card's getting worse and worse, but you really need to play it in a Chaos deck, especially Mystic Piper because it's level 1. But most of the time it works out. Sometimes it can be dead, but what are you going to do? You're playing this deck. 2 Battle Fader. If we were in America, because it's Australia, we would use Weisel. But Battle Fader turned out to be like an alright card this format, especially with so many OTKs like Insectors and Chaos Dragons. And I always joke to my friend about it and say how this deck is impossible to OTK, and it's almost true. Here's the 1-offs, 1 DD Crow and Kinka-Byo. Originally I was maining 2 of each, but as the formats keep changing, this card eats Veiler, and DD Crow is just not that great anymore, but you still have to run 1 of each because they're level 1s. Here's the spell lineup. 2 Pot of Duality. Gabriel wasn't running this, but I felt that you need a bit of kind of draw power to go through the deck, as ironic as it sounds because this deck is all about draw power, but keeps the deck consistent when you really need something, and you wouldn't need to kind of special summon as much as you think you need. You kind of special more when you go for big pushes. Allure of Darkness, because you run a good amount of darks and it's a pretty good draw power card. You run 1 Soul Taker. This card's really good to get over Lagia, because Lagia and Dolka eat this deck. You just get over big stuff essentially. Mind Control. This card is a bit like average. It was better in some builds where you use Cyber Valley, but it's more like you take rank 3 with your tour guide and your Reaper and you kind of exceed, so it's pretty versatile. It's a pretty good card. Here are the staples. Book of Moon, 3 MST to clear back rows because you want to get rid of the back rows. Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn. Nothing really needs to be said there. And trap lineup. Some people only play 2, which is 2 Torrential Tribute, but I also play 2 Bottomless. Torrential Tribute obviously because you don't always overly commit, so when people overextend. You just torrential them. Bottomless for Chaos Dragons, like just Dino Rabbit. Just this card's pretty good at the moment with priority gone. I chose not to play the Solemn Brigade just because this deck doesn't really have any beat sticks, and your Piper, your engine's pretty weak as well, so you take a lot of hits. If you have the Solemn Brigade on top of that, you kind of just lose. You just don't have live warning, stuff like that. And that's the main deck. Do you want to go to the side?
Yep,
Side? I'll just show you this. I play 2 DD Crow. Some people think that 1 is enough in the side, but I chose only to run 2 Shadow-Imprisoning instead of 3. These are for Insectors, if you didn't know. Insectors pretty much rape any deck that's not meta, so you really need these cards against Insectors. I felt that 3 is too many because in this deck you still got the Chaos Sorcerer, and I know that I can still just use them as beat sticks, but if you think about Insectors, they have 2/4 with Centipede and Sword, so this card's not that great. So I chose to run 3 DD Crow since I run the Piper engine anyway. I played 2 Maxx's. They were for the wind-ups. Wind-ups at one point were getting really big, so I mained 1 Maxx and sided 2, but at the moment, since they're fizzling out, 2's enough. 2 Snowman Eater. This card's amazing. You use it against heroes, Dino Rabbit, any beatdown deck, yeah, rogue decks as well. It's just a good side card. This is my tech, Breaker, the Magical Warrior. I was running 2 Dust Tornadoes, but I felt that it was too many. I needed a bit more monster count in the side. So one of my friends said that maybe Breaker, just because I wanted to get rid of more back rows, would be a good choice, and I tried it, and it's pretty good. Like, it's a dark in the bin when you side out your darks like Kinka-Byo or DD Crow. When you need some more darks in there, Breaker's a good choice. I side the second Cyber Dragon, just because sometimes I side out the Thunder King and Cyber Dragon's underrated. So against heroes or Dino Rabbit, it's pretty good. More effective against stuff like heroes, really. And it's a Zen mains killer, so pretty good. I side 2 Soul Taker, just same reason as I mained 1. You really need to get rid of those big butts or big monsters, really. So yeah, it's a pretty good card. Here's onto the traps. 1 Dust Tornado, because you just want to get rid of big trap heavy decks. Yeah, not too much to explain about that. And 2 Deep Prison, just because this card's really needed at the moment. Chaos Dragons, sometimes Rabbits, depending on how the player has their deck, and heroes, yeah, for the shinies.
Alright, we're gonna go 2 minutes, so show us one of your favorite plays
on
the deck. Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much you have a Piper engrave, and a dark, it's irrelevant. Most of the time some people go Tool Guide first, but I like to go Chaos Sorcerer first. You remove the Piper and a dark, and then if they have no response, or you can then clear their back row, you summon Tool Guide and go into Levier. Levier, you detach, get a Piper, and draw 1 more. And then you've got a Levier and Chaos Sorcerer, and you just +1, and potentially, yeah, just getting more Chaos monsters, and it's just a really boss play. Okay, and that's the deck. Extra deck wise, it's pretty standard. The only thing you really need to know is Arcanite Magician, the card's amazing. Rank 6s are kind of optional, but they're always good. And you need 2 Levier, and I choose to run Chimera Tech. Yeah, and the extra deck's pretty standard. Yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.